I met a little fella by the name of Warpug from the Free World League. Loud and very ugly, living his best pug life. Had him dreaming of being a much warrior pilot, sitting on his grandma's lap and he's fighting compose. The boy was shy away from nothing. That's a jag. Warpug pointed at it. I don't think it's a cat. I think this person might be my dad. That's the battle master. Oh no, excuse me, my hand slipped and destroyed it by accident. Warpug destroyed me again. Warpug destroyed another lance. Like he said he would know, he didn't even apologize. Warpug did it to you. You little warpug, not like the kindest guy. Unsportsmanlike, shoot your legs and warpug tie. An eye for an eye, a man 5'9" and a hateful rise. Shooting DCK players like they shot Cujo. Little pug dog with a burgundy coat. Warpug destroy me again. Warpug destroy me again. Warpug did it to you. Warpug destroyed another lands, like he said he would, and then laughed in your face at the beginning. Warpug did it to you, and laughed in your face again.
Warpugs!
He would, and then laughed in your face at the beginning. Warpug did it to you, and laughed in your face again. Like you say he would, and then laughed in your face at the beginning. Warpug did it to you, and laughed in your face again. Like he said he would. No, he didn't even apologize. Warpug did it to you, and laughed in your face again.
Guys! What's up, guys? How's it going? So, I'm bald. Pour one out for Ozzy, because my God, talk about a day that we all knew was coming, but nobody was prepared for. Ozzy Osbourne has gone on to the great line of cocaine in the sky. I'm just saying, that's just where that a man who for 30 years nobody could understand when he was talking normally, but everybody understood when he sung. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be a weird whole thing without him. Oh my God. Yeah, no kidding. The whole day, I had I was just sitting there, and I was doing my day job, and then somebody said what happened, and I was just like, oh God. Warpugs, it is a sadness. How the thing from the movie The Thing doing Warhammer 40k? Not well, my guy. Not well at all. In fact, many 80s horror movie characters would not do well in 40k, period. Why does my head look like the cockpit windshield of a Battlemaster mech? Dick. Why? Why, mate? Why must you? I'm trying to feel okay about it. Bald is beautiful, and I'm embracing that shit. Would you Oh my God. Warpugs, today we are going to be listening to Big Red talk about one of, before I learned about the king crab, about the king crab and everything else like that, I took one look at the Eban Jaguar, and, I really liked the thing. I just liked it. The appearance of it. It just looked so cool. Okay, it just looked so absolutely cool. I've been wanting to check out this mech for quite some time now. The King Crap, shut up! Stop making fun of me! Look, I understand. I could run an ad on this. I'm just saying I could run an ad on this. I get it. Okay? Look. It's a 5-head. I get it, alright? I take a shower, I get brainwashed. That's how bald I am. But still, doesn't mean you guys gotta kick me while I'm down. Come on, man. Time does this to everybody. Bucket was going so good. It was going good, and then everybody had to come in here and start, like, trashing me and dunking on me. Have I gone clanner? No. Still Torium. But it doesn't mean I don't like the mech. I still like the Eban Jaguar. The Eban Jaguar for a long time was my personal favorite, just based off the look alone. Other people, they were like, oh, the Timberwolf, oh, the Atlas, all this other kind of stuff. When it came to MechWarrior Online, though, when I played MechWarrior Online, the first time I saw the Eban Jaguar, I wanted to have one. Just saying. Now, just grow out my beard and I'll look metal. Hawkins, I hate growing a beard. I really do hate growing a beard, period. I'm just saying, yeah, Galleon, that is absolutely the truth. That is 100% the truth. But this is the one mech that I wanted to see since I started doing stuff. And the thing about it is, it's been so long and I don't spend enough time around MechWarrior. I haven't, before Battletech Tuesday became a thing, I honestly had, forgotten what the name of it was. Just to be completely honest. Maybe you've then been thinking about researching more about SCP groups to make lore videos. Totally thinking of mimicking Panker's style, but with SCP factions. I would say give it your own twist. Like me personally, my whole thing with lore is I found out relatively quickly you guys like it when I go off on things and lose my mind. I'm just saying. Yeah, the Bushwhacker, I had intended on doing the Bushwhacker, but I sat down today and I was like, you know what? I'm going to finally do the Eban Jaguar because I wanted to see it. I wanted to learn more about this mech so bad. Christian, why? Why are you guys doing things that are going to make me mad? Seriously. You're going to bring up the Tau right about now? You're going to bring up the Tau. Why? Why would you do this to me? I'm sitting here trying to relax. I'm about to watch something about the Eban Jaguar, which I've been wanting to do for some time now, and you guys got to bring up the Tau. I haven't seen him, Buck. It's not funny. It's sad. Leave me alone. God. Warpugs, let's get into this. I will nuke you. At some point, guys, I'm going to release my unfinished lore video on Commander Farsight because it's 15 pages long at 8-point font, and I still wasn't done with it. I'm just saying. I did a whole thing on Commander Farsight being basically the last Airbender. Get the bean. The bean is anti-Tau. I just put out another thing with the bean. And just to be honest with you, I just put out another. Wait, he's on Hoi 4 right now. 1 second. What is he doing? Hold on. I didn't even know he was live streaming. I'm gonna go make fun of him real quick. He's playing Hoi 4. He's not playing Hoi 4. I don't see him online right now. What? Okay, whatever. We're going to get right into this, guys. Eban Jaguar, okay? Let's get into it, dude. Christian, I'm telling you guys, oh, man, I should roll with it and then just stop at mid-rant being like, you know what, hey, would have kept on with this, but, guys, the Eban Jaguar, we're going to jump right in. big Red 40K, Red 40TECH. I keep on calling it 40K because my brain doesn't function correctly. Oh, stay cool. Okay, I get you. He's never going, dude. He fucked up. Okay, stay cool. He screwed up. All right, he screwed up bad. He got his wife into 40K. You were on the verge, my guy. You were on the verge of being able to afford a bigger house with a swimming pool and maybe a boat. And then you showed her the Drakari. It's over, my guy. Mortgage done. Mortgage done. Second mortgage done. New car, don't worry about it. You don't have one anymore. No. She likes the Drakari. I know. That's actually kind of concerning. He's playing the Papal State. Is he playing in modded? Is he playing Kaiserreich? That's the big question for me. Let's get into it, guys. The Eban Jaguar. X in chat if you think I should put together a bean shirt. I'm just saying. X in chat if you think I should put together a shirt about the bean. Oh, no kidding, Buck.
Nightmares come in many forms. In the world of Battletech, they most often take on the shapes of war machines of the lost and would-be forgotten.
Yes.
Haunting specters in the darkness were the legacy of the Word of Blake. A machine of rage and destruction, and the foundations of brutality, was the legacy of the Amaris Empire and Rimworld's Republic. But in both of
Okay, I don't know what this is, this mech back here is, but I like it. I'm just saying. I like this mech because it looks like it would fall over from a stiff wind, and then all of a sudden, big-ass cannon, okay? Stiff wind, big-ass cannon. Let's go. Guys, that's my baby. Locust 11C. What the hell is that? Is that an AC-10?
these cases, those nightmares remain only in the minds of their vanquishers, remaining distant horrors, and ones that are not easily forgotten. But they have faded with time. However, one army left behind a grand legacy of violence.
Yay!
Clan Smoke Jaguar, one of the most brutal and vicious entities in the history of warfare amongst the stars of the Inner Sphere, crafted many monsters that have persisted long past its own demise. The Mad Dog, for instance, has become a true symbol of war, and was birthed from the viciously effective mindset of conflict that these clan warriors possessed. Being a true omnimech for carnage at scale, the lumbering behemoth, the stone rhino, is another example of their callous designs, its massive form crushing almost all that come into its path. But there are others, and perhaps the most notable of all is not a machine for mass production, or for gargantuan rampages.
Meep meep. I don't know. We will find out. We will find out.
No. Because Clan Smoke Jaguar, in the latter years of its existence in the 31st century, forged another beast of myomers and steel that once more ups the scale of violence and savagery. Rare, even in its initial time of operation, this deadly cat became associated with the myths of the British Isles, earning it the name of Cauldron-born in the Inner Sphere. But much like the devil it is, its true name has power. In this overview, we are going to examine the history and fighting ability of one of the most dangerous omnimechs to ever stride across a battlefield.
Okay. What the hell, DJ? Damn, why don't you just cut me? Oh, God. Alright, so The hat is messed up. That's what's going on with it. I'm considering maybe buying another one. I don't know if I'm going to. Shut up, Valnera! Smoke Jags found out what a phone booth
And one that is yet another piece of the dark legacy of Clan Smoke Jaguar. The Eban Jaguar.
Really, DJ?
Its structural perfection is matched only by its hostility.
He brought up. Okay. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that.
Ash, from the film Alien, 1979. To understand the origins of this incredible beast of a battle mech,
Thank you, MN01. Thank you. I appreciate that. It makes me feel somewhat better. It does. Thank you, good sir. You win 5 internets for the day.
one must first understand why it was built and who built it. Clan Smoke Jaguar, the most aggressive and merciless of the Crusader clans during the 3040s, was a Goliath in the Kerensky cluster. First founded by Nicholas Kerensky, but truly shaped by its first Khan, Franklin Osis. From the very start, the Jaguars were set up to be extremely aggressive by their very natures. The clan may view itself
You're going to hell for that, mate. Me. You're going to hell for that.
often in a heroic light, but actions very much speak louder than words. One of the few clans to ever destroy another, in this instance Clan Mongoose, the Jaguars proved their willingness to inflict destruction on anyone foolish enough to challenge them, even in the Kerensky cluster. By the time of the 3040s, their reputation was firmly cemented in the reality of their ruthlessness and brutality. Possessing the most powerful tumen, the term for clan military, in theory, its array of battle mechs were more than impressive. It was everywhere else, however, where supposedly the Jaguars often fell behind. The civilian castes were so badly repressed and battered into place that it heavily restricted productivity in other spaces. This was especially prevalent in the science and technology castes. This created the circumstances in the clan of underachieving in regards to its technological contributions to the homeworlds. But they had an easy solution to that, typically. At least, for Smoke Jaguar, there was an easy solution. That is, if the Jaguars needed new facilities, if it needed new battle mechs, people, or anything of the sort, it would simply attack other clans to acquire those things for themselves.
Hey, seems
There was
legit.
little need to innovate, or to be considerate to civilians as a result. Need more food? Go take it from someone else.
Yeah.
Need new mechs? Take the rights to produce them from someone else.
Okay.
The clan trial system allowed them to flourish through what Franklin Osis always envisioned for his people: violence.
Yay!
This method always worked for Smoke Jaguar in its infamous history. Of course, it was only infamous to outsiders. Those within Clan Smoke Jaguar viewed their actions in a noble light.
Of course.
More often than not.
Because punching the blind kid in the face helps him develop thicker skin. Am I right, Smoke Jaguar?
Still, with the opportunity to simply take the hard work from others. The only designs they perfected on their own were a small number, and ones that borrowed quite heavily, often from their claimed trophies. A great example of this is their most successful battle mech, the Mad Dog.
Lorgar, I'm going to tell Korax where you are. I'm going to tell him.
Which was largely based on the lupus from...
No, Eleanor, you see, the Blood Ravens have a Kinderstyle philosophy when it comes to acquiring stuff. The Jaguars basically look at things and be like, hey, nice stuff you have there. It would be a shame if something happened to it. And then you look back and like, yeah, it would be a shame. You turn your head back to them and they punch you in the face.
Clan Coyote. Another example is the Stone Rhino, which was an evolution of the Matar from the Amaris Empire. Admittedly, both of these machines are superb, and show just how adaptable the Jaguars truly were in regards to technology and design when they needed to be. But these contributions, while significant, were not frequent. The other clans understood that this indicated that their Jaguar brethren were hardly the most creative, to put it lightly. More objectively, Smoke Jaguar cared little for development of new concepts. But when they did take the ideas of others and adapted them, they often delivered masterpieces of warfare.
Hey, Callum.
But this does not reflect on the reality of their final gift to mankind. The
jerky?
Eban Jaguar.
Oh.
At least, not directly. Because the Cauldronborn wasn't brought about by knocking off other mechs and upping their brutality to best fit the needs of their Tumen.
Do you know why I think I like the Eban Jaguar so much? If you look at it from a certain angle, does it not look like a Warhound Titan? Does it not? Tell me it doesn't.
But because of the deficiencies of a mainstream, mainline battle mech, one that filled the ranks of Clan Smoke Jaguar's clusters. Every one of the clans had adopted a
DJ, the
relatively
Hunley.
inexpensive, simple, heavily armed heavy mech known as the Hellbringer, a machine of desperation made by Clan Hell sources. It was an unexpected success, at least for clan duelists, seemingly. The main problem with it was, this monstrosity was overgunned, significantly, and most other aspects of the battle mech suffered severely due to this, outside of its mobility. In the 3040s, Clan Smoke Jaguar was seemingly the first to take a real, hard look at this now older, but prolific Clan Hell Source's Omnimech.
Yeah, DJ. Actually, if you go back in history, during the Civil War, the first submarine attack happened. The first used submarine with a crew of 6 actually was the Hunley, and the first engagement between what were called ironclads happened in Hampton Roads,
and assessed it to be truly inadequate for combat.
A lot of naval stuff,
especially at scale. The lens of history would by and large prove this assessment to be correct. The Hellbringer was so heavily armed, it rarely could manage its heat. And
if you guys keep on making ball jokes, I'm going to voice myself as Hellbrick for the rest of the stream.
Worse, it had incredibly minimal armored protection, making it a target that could be easily removed in battle, whether it be in a trial, or especially when it squared up in traditional battles without Zellbringen. Zellbringen, if you're wondering, is a set of rules that encompass clan fighting traditions, for those who have not followed the ways of the clans up until this point. This meant that it would be a high-value target for any enemy, easy to destroy and excessively gunned. These are truly a pair of bad traits for a frontline war asset.
True.
During the invasion, even extremely primitive inner sphere heavies, with a bit of luck, had the ability to engage and overwhelm this troubled mech, despite what clan arrogance might have tried to conceal. But the Jaguars saw through all these severe issues years before the invasion into the inner sphere launched, and began trying to remedy it. The order to find or create a replacement came down to the science and technician casts during the 3040s. Something needed to fill its vital battlefield role and weight class. A new, fierce beast was conceived, and one which came just in time for what would become the assault on the inner sphere known as Operation Revival. Where the Hellbringer was frail, the Eban Jaguar was sturdy. Where the Hellbringer had 28.5 tons of weaponry on board, the Jaguar had 30. It was an improvement in almost every way, save for cost of production and critical spacing. But these advantages paid off in the extreme. This new aggressive battle mech was approved by the clan warriors, and the next stage of development began. The first production line, Eban Jaguar, walked off Smoke Jaguar assembly lines on Huntress in 3049, the very year Operation Revival launched. Due to their relatively new status, they were not recorded in any noteworthy engagements by the Inner Sphere until the greatest battle that the Jaguars would wage during the entire operation proper, and it left a devastating and terrifying first impression.
It just looks awesome. I don't care.
A clan-heavy Omnimech weighing in at 65 tons, the Eban Jaguar, also known as the Cauldron-born, is one of the most fearsome legacies left behind by Clan Smoke Jaguar, competing rightfully with the Mad Dog in this regard. Using a multitude of advanced technologies, and with a design ideal of replacing the very heavily gunned Hellbringer, it truly brings the pain, at least in many of its configurations. To begin our journey delving into this devastating design, let's begin with its core attributes. First, the Jaguar has a 3.5-ton CSJ Type 63.43 endosteel chassis. This means the mech gives up some of its critical space in favor of
Night Lords,
tonnage.
dude. Night Lords.
After this, it has a standard gyro and cockpit due to the limitations of its era of production, i.e., there weren't any alternatives to the standard components at the time.
Okay.
In order to keep the mech cool, it has 13 clan double heatsinks, letting it natively dump 26 heat every turn.
Good God.
This can be further enhanced by using Omnipod space depending on the configuration as well. Speaking of Omnipod space, it has 30 tons to spend on advanced clan weaponry and equipment, and for a relatively quick-moving 65-ton heavy mech, this gives the Jaguar the potential to install major weapon systems, as large as Gauss rifles and heavy ballistics, as well as having a mixed array of other systems and heatsinks alternatively. The flexibility offered by this volume of tonnage is one of its most powerful traits. For electronic systems on board, the Cauldron-born comes stock with a Hector CC-22E communications package, as well as an integrated Bravo 7 targeting and tracking system. In regards to quirks or advanced rules, the Eban Jaguar benefits from the exceptional narrow profile ability.
Yay!
The clans heavily prioritize movement in their battle mechs for the most part, especially in the heavy mech range. This is largely due to an understanding that positioning and mobility are the most vital traits a mech can possess under most conditions. This level of tactical flexibility, and for the clans at a much lower cost of durability than their spheroid counterparts, is vital to their success. The Eban Jaguar fully embraces this understanding of mobile warfare. What all of this means is that Smoke Jaguar technicians and scientists opted to outfit the Cauldron-born with a 12-ton Consolidated Fusion 325XL power plant. This is the single heaviest component of the battle mech, and provides it with a maximum speed of 86 km per hour, or 8 movement points in the tabletop game. Overall, this mobility means it can be hard to hit in the open due to generating meaningful defensive bonuses.
Yay!
Or it can optimize its movement in more difficult terrain or combat conditions. Also, when confronting other clan heavies, it has the same functionality as its peers, and can keep pace with them, and with clan battle line formations. Though, no matter how advanced, its XL engine does have the trade-off of adding increased vulnerability to the battle mech through engine destruction, but it is not nearly as pronounced as an inner sphere power plant like this in this respect.
So it's got a good engine, A lot of space, a lot of headroom. It works.
The single greatest
does got
fault
the
of the
zoomies.
Hellbringer was its paper-thin armor, with it being less protected than many 40-ton medium mechs. Clan Smoke Jaguar addressed this very specifically with their new Center Stage Omnimech. Modular mechs like the Cauldronborn can install additional defensive features with their pod space, like anti-missile systems or electronic warfare packages.
Hooray!
But when it comes to its core defensive features, the Jaguar relies entirely on its relatively thick armored plating. While there are more heavily guarded
The woman is here.
Hello.
She stands in the doorway with her hair and her glasses. They want to see the bean. What do you require, woman?
Are you asking me to go to Spain?
Well, you can go get the bean if you want to. I mean,
Not
yeah.
particularly.
Mad Mergen just asked if you brought bean. What?
I didn't particularly want to get the bean. I came down to get food, but I can get the bean.
You can get food and put it in the microwave and then grab the bean.
I'll grab the bean first.
She's gonna grab the bean. The bean. Anyhow,
heavies out there, it
they want a shirt.
is worlds more advanced than the Hellbringer. Using technology and tonnage in unison, this monster has 9.5 tons of clan composite A4 ferrofibrous armor. This means it has 182 points of protection to guard its vital internal components. That makes it as armored.
What?
Bean's looking kind of frumpy.
He is kind of looking a little bit. He does look a
A
little
little
bit.
frazzled.
Yeah, a little bit. It's because his feathers are coming in.
Yeah, so he's looking a little frumpy.
So, behold the bean. Now you see this right here. He's starting to get his adult feathers right about here.
And on the back of his head, so he looks like a frump.
Yeah, he does. He does look kind of like he's been through it today. I'm just saying. But yes, this is the bean.
The bean.
The bean.
The wee bean.
The wee bean. Yeah, he's getting used to balancing on my finger and stuff like that. Also doing some other stuff. Yeah. Come on.
Funny thing is, we really don't know if it's a he or a she.
Oh, it's a rooster.
You
It's
think?
definitely a rooster.
You think?
He's so used to it.
Well, rooster or not, Bean has got a pardon.
Yes, Bean most definitely has a pardon because he is the bean. Bean.
Is your favorite chicken.
Bean. I wanted to name him Nugget, but he became Bean.
You named him Bean.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to name him Nugget, but he became Bean.
Bean fits him better.
Bean does fit him better. He is.
He's already getting his adult feathers. Look how small he is.
I know. He's gonna be
I'm
so
starting to think
tiny.
He might end up having to be a house chicken because the other chicken.
He's not gonna be a house chicken. I'm gonna be we're gonna build him his own little thing out there because.
With other bantams.
Well, everybody
because-
wants to see the bean.
Yeah, the big ones will bully him.
Everybody wants to see the bean. Yes, bean.
Him and the other bantam can be partners in crime.
Mm-hmm. Get him and Napoleon out there.
Well, the other bantam that we have in the breeder,
Yeah, but
which is probably also a rooster. But
yeah, he's probably also a rooster. But he's going to start changing colors relatively soon. So I'm going to be filming him once every few days.
Raise him up. All you can see is the top of his head.
Okay, hold on. Come on, climb up. There you go. Behold the wonder of the bean. I know. What?
Little frumpy thing.
I know.
He's
Look at
got
it. Look at him
that
from the side. Look at him from the
funny
side.
looking face.
Look at him. Oh yeah. Bean is now the mascot. Yes, he is the mascot of the live stream. I'm gonna have to talk to
Bean's
Val
got
now.
green feet.
Put it. Stop
No,
it.
Bean's gonna if Bean's a chicken, Bean's gonna lay blue eggs because of the color of the feet.
If it's a hen.
If it's a hen.
Oh. Don't turn him over like that. He doesn't like it.
I want to see the little feet.
The Bean. You want Bean to be the mascot of Battletech Tuesday? All right, X in chat if you want Bean to be the Battletech Tuesday mascot. Just a question. All right, let's get back into this. Thank you for bringing us the Bean.
Or more armor.
What?
I'm kissing that bean.
Okay, well, thank you.
He's singing you a little song.
What?
He's singing you a little song.
I know, but we got things to do here.
All right, give Bean a kiss.
I'm not.
Give Bean a
I'm
kiss.
giving him a pet.
I'm giving him a
pet. I'm giving him a pet.
Everybody wants you to kiss.
No, I
Bean.
know. Give him. I
X
give him
in
pets.
chat if you want him to
Would
kiss
you go
Bean.
away?
If you want him to
Go
kiss
away.
Bean.
Go away. I've entertained your madness for enough times.
Look at those X's.
No, that's to make him the mascot. You don't listen.
Everybody wants you to kiss
You don't
Bean.
listen.
I'll listen if you kiss Bean.
Go away.
No.
I'm just
Bean needs affection.
going to do something with this. I don't know quite what yet.
You'll lose it and it'll be shoved up your butt if you don't cut it out.
Go away.
You forget I'm 4'11" of pure rage.
You can't even climb stairs that fast.
I don't need to climb stairs to reach your ass.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. Mathematically, I can prove it. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Let's go.
Armored than most of its 65-ton counterparts across the inner sphere and clans, though it is far from invincible if it is focused on by heavy fire. Still, it is a very survivable machine for its weight, and with it having a clan chassis, it by default has a clan case system installed, making it even.
The wife has collected a lot of animals. We currently have 30 chickens, 3 turkeys, 3 ducks, 3 pugs, and a mutt.
Even more durable. There is a reason why this thing earned the Inner Sphere nickname of Cauldron-born. Ironically, the stellar reputation of the
Black Wolf.
Eban Jaguar exists in spite of its base configuration. The term Prime is often meant to note the most common configuration of an Omnimech that is deployed,
Okay.
and it is seen as the most optimal design. As you can already probably guess, this doesn't seem to be the case for the Cauldron-born, though it's not without its virtues in this state. To
Okay.
begin with its mightiest and most intimidating weapon, it has a right arm mounted Gauss rifle with 16 rounds of ammunition. It produces very little heat and delivers terrifying head-destroying capabilities. More often than not, this mighty cannon shatters armor with each impact and causes catastrophic damage to targets. Backing this up further, it has a left torso mounted LRM-10 launcher with 24 rounds of ammunition.
Good
This is then
God.
further enhanced by an ER medium laser. After this, things, however, begin to drag a bit.
A little
In
bit.
his left arm, it comes with an LB-5X with 2 tons of ammunition. If it is fired as a solid slug, the cannon is unimpressive, and even as cluster rounds, it just doesn't have many pellets to potentially crit seek with. Its range is exceptional, but it's a lot of tonnage for not a lot of flash, and this is a mediocre backup to the otherwise devastating Gauss rifle.
Yeah.
Then, least impressive of all, it has a right torso-mounted SRM-2 with 50 rounds of ammunition. So, the virtues of the Prime are that it has a major cannon in the form of a Gauss rifle. The problems begin everywhere.
She just threw. If this gets on the floor, it is sticky.
There's a lollipop for you. Oh, you got it on the floor.
Pick it up!
Where else? The ER medium laser is a lonely weapon system, and the LRM-10 is fine. The LB-5 is lackluster, and the SRM-2 is frankly unimpressive.
Why build an
It has a
SRM-2?
lot of tonnage tied up in systems that really just don't help it.
Hey, Captain Commander.
Also, it has a
Black
lot of
Wolf.
explosive material on board, with it having 5 tons of it spread between its side torsos and left arm.
Uh-huh.
Then there is the fact that the Gauss rifle itself is also explosive. In short, the Prime is a one-trick pony that might explode if it takes too much fire.
Right.
While it is agile, quick, and may deliver in the right conditions or with a bit of luck, it will struggle against more competently designed mechs in the same weight bracket. Though, there are much more capable and deadly configurations of this dangerous feline.
I remember when PvP first started. I remember when in Mech Warrior Online, when PvP first started up, quite literally, any clan mech would take a steaming shit on any inner sphere mech. Like, you could have them with a 35-ton disadvantage, and the clan mech would still just take a raging shit on the assault mechs of the inner sphere. It was bad.
More lethal cat is without a doubt the A configuration. Combining energy weapons with one of the most intimidating platforms in Battletech definitely yields this monster much better results. Though as a warning, this one is going to run exceptionally hot. Something that has been pointed out to me is that I have a preference for mechs that don't melt into the ground.
Yeah.
And this is entirely fair. To borrow a term from gaming in general, I have a taste for sustained damage over burst damage, because of the nature of how Battletech plays.
Okay.
And because of the nature of the penalties that heat can bring to a mech, often crippling it as though it had taken damage. Or in some cases, even triggering ammunition explosions on board. However, there's most definitely a place for mechs that use bracketed fire, or burst damage as described. The Jaguar A is very much an embodiment of this. First, let's run down its weaponry. It has a pair of ER large lasers, with one in each arm, and these allow it to reach out to extreme distances, delivering 10 damage sets on opponents. Both can be fired in unison while the mech is running, without heat buildup. This is very effective for harassing and even knocking out enemies at a distance.
Harassing.
After this, it backs things up with a right arm mounted medium pulse laser, which gives it accurate in-close firing, and supports its primary armaments quite well. Then it has, once more, an ER medium laser in the left torso as a backup weapon.
Yeah!
It also installs 2 rear-firing ER medium lasers as well. For dealing with lighter targets, it should also be noted that the A has a machine gun with 200 rounds of ammunition, as well as a flamethrower. All of this sounds fairly decent so far, especially with bracketed fire.
Right.
But this is not the main course.
Okay.
Because in the right torso, this cat is rocking an Ultra AC-20 autocannon with 15 rounds of ammunition. Anyone who gets into close range and faces the fury of this ballistic system is going to be in instant jeopardy. Even assault mechs and heavies can be disabled or destroyed in quick order alone from this massive ballistic cannon. And that doesn't even begin to touch on mediums or lights. Paired with its other short-range weaponry, this can deliver a hellish barrage. Overall, the
You're damn right, Mad Mergen.
Jaguar A is a beast. Just be aware of when it's time to burst, or when it's time to bracket fire.
There is no strike but Alpha Strike.
Heat management? What's that?
Yeah, of course.
Laser-focused design.
Screw heat management. You know what? If I'm not shutting down my mech at least 2 times every single 5 seconds, I haven't built it right.
The B configuration most definitely needs to bracket its fire, but sadly, does still struggle regardless. It is armed with a pair of Clan ERPPCs, a pair of Clan Large Pulse Lasers, and a pair of Clan Medium Pulse Lasers. The large
Oh, yeah. This is my kind of boat right here. When you take it and just say full send it as a lifestyle choice.
pulse lasers and ERPPCs are divided between the arms. Outside of this, it has a tag and active probe. Its pulse lasers complement is very impressive, and won't tax the mech too much if they are used wisely. The real problem this mech faces is that it can't fire both of its ERPPCs without immediately overheating, and it will start receiving penalties if it's on the move. Yes, these can headcap. Yes, they can bust through armor. But it just seems like this design is too excessively gunned and too undersynced.
Look, just find a river and stand in it. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Or just, fight it in the vacuum of space. It's another good idea. Personally, I'm of the opinion that if you're not standing in water and your sheer presence in that body of water isn't causing an extreme amount of, water vapor in the area, who cares?
It wastes a lot of tonnage as a result. Still, it can be a deadly adversary, especially if it decides to exert itself enough to go to sleep.
It's a sleepy boy. It's a very sleepy boy. I'm just saying. There is no strike like Alpha Strike. Space does nothing for heat management. Well, they can't hear you scream about your mech going offline in space.
Of all of the regularly available configurations for the invasion, the Sea is a fascinating creation. Perhaps it is more effective in a mech warrior scenario, as on the tabletop it is strangely a limited model, investing entirely in ammunition-based systems, and having no real punch-through ability on any enemy plating. Being armed with twin LRM-15s and twin SRM-6s, it is far from lackluster, typically. It has a total of 60 rounds of SRMs between the two launchers, and 32 between the LRM systems, giving it longevity in most scenarios. These weapons are great, and complement one another well. Where things go awry are in its primary weapon systems, in that it has a pair of arm-mounted Ultra AC2 autocannons for its main guns. These are lackluster on the tabletop, but surprisingly effective in the video games.
Yeah?
Still, it's a lot of tonnage, and with ammunition needed to feed them, it makes this variant of the Cauldron-born even more prone to exploding. But hey, it is heat neutral, so that's nice at least.
I can understand an AC2. I can't understand an SRM2. I just can't really understand an SRM2, period. It just doesn't mesh well with me. I'm just saying.
Basically, it runs cool, it can fire indirectly, it has long-range capabilities well beyond a lot of other mechs, and it can scatter damage opponents really effectively. However, it does anemic damage much of the time. It spends a lot of its tonnage on AC2 autocannons, and it might be a gigantic bomb, considering it has 10 tons of ammunition on board.
Yeah.
Even a clan case can't stop all that ammunition from cooking off. My heart hoped for glorious wars against honorable warriors. My mind expected honorless battles against uncivilized barbarians. You tell me that our conquests of the Inner Sphere will be nothing more than skirmishes against cowardly children? Imagine my bitter disappointment. Ilkhan Leo Showers, addressing the Curl Tie. February 23rd. 3050.
Unhappy. The Cauldron of Luthien.
There is a journey towards the unveiling of the power of the Jaguar's mightiest heavy mech.
Alright, we're going on a trip in our favorite rocket ship, going through the skies. We're gonna fucking die.
And it begins after the outbound light arrived in the Huntress system. This one mistake of history made it inevitable that the clans would invade the Inner Sphere. Clan Smoke Jaguar, under Khan Leo Showers, went on to provide evidence that the Inner Sphere was reforming the Star League without them, and showed that these Inner Sphere powers were potentially expansionists. Of course, this was almost all manipulation.
Yeah.
The crew of the outbound light had been interrogated with enhanced techniques. predictably leading to them saying whatever their captors had demanded. The Wardens of the Homeworld, those that opposed the ideology that the clans needed to invade the Inner Sphere, did one final attempt to block an invasion, but failed in their efforts. The Crusaders, the other side of this ideological equation, now had what they'd always desired. They were to return home to the Inner Sphere and to Terra as liberators and conquerors.
Yep. And Smoke Jaguars.
4 clans were to be in the invasion corridor, with Leo Showers being elected Ilkhan, and with Clan Smoke Jaguar being such a mighty force, it was inevitable that one of these slots fell to them. Jade Falcon, Ghost Bear, and Wolf all occupied the other frontline slots. Wolf and Ghost Bear found themselves in the middle, diving into mostly the fledgling Free Rosselhag Republic, while Clan Jade Falcon did battle with the mighty Federated Commonwealth. Clan Smoke Jaguar had a particularly high honor, and especially in their own eyes. They were given the task of fighting the Draconis Combine as Kurita, the successor state they viewed as being partially responsible for the rise of Stefan Amaris and the Amaris Empire.
And they're not wrong in that.
As the Combine had aided the Rimworld's Republic in ancient times, with their plots and schemes to build a periphery military force strong enough to challenge the SLDF. They were the ultimate betrayers who'd never been punished for their crimes.
MN01, it's never too late to piss on old Nicky's grave.
When the Smoke Jaguars arrived in the Inner Sphere, when they collided with the poorly guarded worlds of the Combine's periphery edge, the results would be catastrophic for the Dragon. The Smoke Jaguars, with ruthlessness and brutality, tore through their unprepared enemies.
So damn good.
And their highly sophisticated battle mechs could not be matched. The Draconis Combine mustered soldiery, considered a lion in the Inner Sphere, was little more than a feeble old power, with pitiable battle mech forces and dated tactics by comparison. The most resistance they seemed to offer was in the Jaguars being forced to hold their worlds after their conquest. Individuals displayed great acts of courage, but were hopelessly outmatched by the clan warriors they faced.
Yeah.
This all changed with the reversal at Walcott, but this twist of fortune was temporary, seemingly, outside of the fact that the Ilkhan, Leo Showers, was killed with the disabling of a clan wolf warship, resulting in a near halting of the clan advances in the Inner Sphere, buying the spheroids time to readjust, rearm, and prepare themselves for the clan's next move. When Smoke Jaguar reopened their offensive, its planned waves of attacks continued, relentlessly, but this time they fought a far more capable DCMS force, with newer, more sophisticated Inner Sphere battle mechs, and often with harder and more disciplined formations. These regiments could slow the Jaguar, but they could not hope to stop a dedicated assault by the clan's powerful clusters and galaxies. Where the Jaguar chose to deploy its serious forces, there was only one outcome. Another significant problem for the defenders was that they still couldn't anticipate where the Jaguar's claws were to strike. Operatives were sent into occupied territory to discover where the Jaguar's main push would be directed towards.
I honestly, I'd feel bad for Kurita for about 15 minutes. A grand total of 15 minutes. I'll give them that. I'll even time it, just so I don't stop feeling bad for Kurita. Because if there was any single power in the Inner Sphere that had more of a influence on the fall of the Star League, I can't find it. Okay? No matter what happened in the Free Worlds League, no matter how weird the Commonwealth was, how weird the Federated Sons are being, the situation in the periphery, Capellans in general, every single time you heard of somebody doing something to destabilize or just be an outright dick, it usually started and ended with a Kurita. And while, they are one power among several, anytime you hear and then X started some shit, it's usually the DCMS or Kurita itself. 60% of cases, that's how it went. So, this is, like, Kurita getting stomped out doesn't really bother me that much. Because, goddamn, they really did earn it.
Hostilities re-emerged, but none were able to give an answer of the few that reported back. It was Comstar that inevitably, quietly leaked to the Combine where the next blow was to land. Luthien. During all of this chaos and violence of the first years of the invasion, the Eban Jaguar saw very minimal combat, if any, on the front lines of the corridor. But this was to change as the Jaguars made their plans to take the capital of the Draconis Combine. Perhaps because it was one of the most thoroughly documented and studied battles of the clan invasion, or perhaps because the Jaguars opted to deploy their most cutting-edge mech forces in battle. This was the first documented engagement with the fearsome monster that became known as the Cauldronborn. We are Smoke Jaguar. We leap upon our prey, bearing him to the ground and tearing out his throat. We fear no enemy. We seek him out and kill him where he lives. We do not stand and wait for him to come to us, or meet him on the ground of his choosing. Galaxy Commander Dorian Worth to Con Severin LaRue.
Dude, if you were any more edgy, you could cut things. Like, I could use you to cut figurines out of plastic at that point if you were any edgier.
Once Luthien became exposed to a potential clan assault, it was inevitable that it would become a key target for Clan Smoke Jaguar. The planet was, first of all, the industrial beating heart of the empire it was at the center of. Next, it was the political and administrative capital of the Combine, and had the greatest concentration of its leadership. It was the symbol of the dragon's power and prestige. If the planet could be taken, it'd be a devastating blow against the Inner Sphere, and in effect, would be the beginning of the end of meaningful resistance across the Great House's sector. Such a victory was also to bring an enormous amount of honor to those who participated in it as well. Ilkan Ulrich Kerensky, who was newly appointed after the death of Leo Showers, was briefed on the situation within the great flank that the Smoke Jaguars had opened. The Jaguars were now being supported by Clan Novacat, who had acted as a reserve clan, just due to how much territory they needed to cover, and due to several problems which had appeared for the Jaguars since their defeat on Walcott, even with successive waves of assaults being relatively successful against the Combine after the fact. Though Kerensky was a warden, he was still in charge of leading a successful campaign, and as a theater commander, his role superseded his personal politics, at least in theory. Operation Dragon Slayer was put forward to the Ilkan by Clan Smoke Jaguar's leadership. The ambitious plan, with some revisions, namely the involvement of Clan Novacat, was approved. One Sakon Kincaid Fury was originally selected as the overall commander of the operation, and he was placed above the Novacat's Khan, Severin LaRue. With the planned invasion being a joint mission between the two clans, despite their tensions, a total of 5 galaxies could be mustered to their command after appropriate bids had been completed.
Yay.
Importantly, Clan Smoke Jaguar's Khan,
Explain where the hell your neck is.
Lincolnosis, declared a formal bachal would not be needed for their opponents were without clan honor. This caused some discord within the ranks, but it settled before the Battle of Luthien began. This was intended to be a lightning-quick battle, and one which roundly defeated the Combine off the march. Their opponents were to be given no warning, or so they thought, before the blow landed. Galaxy Commander Dorian Worth, the commander of Smoke Jaguar's Alpha Galaxy, was to serve directly under Saucon Fury's command, and was the one responsible for the overall planning, for the most part, behind Dragon Slayer. Just prior to the battle, Fury ended up losing his command to his predecessor, the now restored Saucon Weaver. But this changed little, as she was medically unfit to command at that moment, thus leaving Dorian in charge. Things were set in stone now.
Okay.
5 fully equipped clan combined arms galaxies, as well as 3 clusters of aerospace fighters of the combined Smoke Jaguar Novacat Task Force were set to begin the grandest battle of the entire campaign of Operation Revival. Only the Battle of Tukiad superseded it in scope and in importance, but that wasn't truly a part of the broad campaign. This was to be Clan Smoke Jaguar's moment, their chance for true glory. The assault on Luthien began January 4th, 3052.
Okay.
When it is your time to command an invasion force, you may order a bachaul if that is your desire. But for now, your duty is to obey the commander I appointed you. Ilkhan Ulrich Kerensky, speaking with Khan LaRue of Clan Novacat, after another confrontation between the Novacats and Smoke Jaguars.
Yay.
Before any troops or battle mechs could make landfall on the planet, things needed to be sorted out in the skies above Luthien.
Of
The
course!
3rd and 7th Luthien aerospace wings intercepted incoming dropship forces as best they could, and the clan's transport forces found their escorts being peeled away to deal with this pressing issue. While several clan dropships were damaged in the fight in the outer layers of Luthien's atmosphere, the overall damage to the volume of ground forces was limited. These fighter engagements were not one protracted battle either, but a series of small, intense skirmishes. Jaguar and Novacat forces emerged across the planet from their staging grounds. However, the overwhelmingly largest component of the force was placed to
No,
threaten
I'm
the
on one.
Imperial City. This was the most obvious target for the Jaguars to take, whether they liked it or not. If the Combines
Black Wolf, you have a great night, dude. You have a great night. Ruffle their little heads for me. Next time, let me know. I'll bring out the bean for Paisley.
leadership could be subdued, and preferably captured, the planet's ability to resist would dwindle quickly.
Yes.
What they found in their march towards the dragon's beating heart was not a great, honorable clash, at least at first, as they'd hoped for. The
Right.
engagements the United Clan Front found themselves in were grinding battles over the course of 48 hours. Ambushes, traps, minefields, and hit-and-run tactics were all employed heavily against them in harrying campaigns launched by the DCMS, and by their unexpected allies. Unbeknownst to the descendants of Kerensky, at least at the beginning, they were not just fighting House Karita, but the respectable and deadly Kellhound mercenary unit, as well as the famous, or infamous in this case, traitors to the clan cause, the Wolf's Dragoons. Their enemies had set aside their differences, as the Combine famously hated mercenaries, and especially the Dragoons. But they had allowed for these reinforcements from First Prince Hans Davian in their time of need.
Somewhere in the Draconis Combine, there is a grave, and inside this grave, you hear some ancient corpse shrieking in terror. And the reason he's shrieking in terror is one word: Minnesota.
This then heavily weighed things against the clan attackers, especially as they failed to find any meaningful, devastating knockout blows against most of the units they faced. Bogged down in the first major day of fighting in the Lightning operation, the second day saw the Jaguars make progress, as they brute forced their way past the first Swords of Light and their reinforcements. A vicious counterblow landed from the DCMS, as the Geonosians launched an all-out attack against the clan thrust. This landed in the Terracotta Plains, and proved to be the undoing of the defenders. Because it was here, the first major concentration of Eban Jaguars made their appearance, as the Novacats and Smoke Jaguars rallied and unified their commands properly in order to throw back the counterattack and press forwards. Trinary Alpha of the 1st Jaguars Guards charged at the center of the DCMS lines as the clan forces rallied. The Combine's localized superiority in numbers poured fire into these fast-moving new heavies, which weathered the storm. More unnervingly for the spheroids yet, these mechs received, often, seemingly lethal amounts of fire from the first Swords of Light and other defenders.
Hey, Umbral.
As one fell, another appeared, as if they were rising from the grave that the DCMS had just placed them in. By the end of this fight, Combine aligned soldiers claimed to have knocked out over 50 of these Omnimechs from this one formation. The reality was shockingly not the case. They simply were resurrected and stalked back towards their enemies, unleashing their own savage barrages into their opponents. This was where this new mech earned its name, Cauldronborn, referring to the ancient mythology of the British Isles, namely of Ireland and Wales, of the dead rising from the Cauldron of Resurrection. Only this was not to be its only deployment, as this monster and the Cat clans pulled themselves up after these devastating days of fighting and launched themselves once more into the offensive. Novacat nearly had a breakthrough at the Wasada Hills and into the Basin Lake Valley in the following day, before colliding with the Kellhounds and Wolf Dragoons. This was the preliminary battle before the finale, the Battle of the Kato-Gucci Valley. While raids happened with lighter forces on both sides, such as the Jaguars storming and damaging Luthien armorworks, or the Geonosians striking back at the Jaguars in raids before the grand battle to come. These were mere sideshows. The Novacats faced increased resistance, even as their clusters tried to dislodge and bat aside their mercenary opponents. The grinding nature of the two-day battle so far had been such that both sides were shedding men and machines. The Hounds managed to throw back the Novacats at first, but poorly placed follow-up attacks ended this hope. One last play was at hand, as Galaxy Commander Worth committed the lion's share of his forces to the final true barrier before the capital city, before the grand prize.
Okay.
The commitment of the entirety of the clan's remaining forces were placed on this throw of the dice, as the 5 Cat Galaxies crashed into 12 DCMS and mercenary regiments.
Woo!
The intensity of the fighting resembled the hell that the defenders assumed the Cauldronborns came from, as both sides brutally slugged it out. This was the largest conventional engagement since the Second Succession War. Both lines pushed for the advantage, to seize the initiative, even as the clan's unstoppable war machines pressed hard.
The Geonosians don't exist anymore. They just don't. They simply don't. The Mundi took care of them.
It simply wasn't enough. At the height of their power...
Why do you think the Mech the Firestarter exists, Epic? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Reverb, thanks, bud. The small thing is that when the coordinator had a small stroke, no one could tell he had one, and so let him lead the state. That says a lot about the... him just sitting there tweaking out over the Minnesota tribe makes me smile. It makes me smile so much in so many ways. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It just makes me smile. I don't know. I don't have a clue, Epic. Like, hold on a second. Let me actually take a look at what's next to your name and check, because I don't know. One second. What are we looking at here? Epic, what's going on? I don't know. Not a clue, bud. I'm not seeing it. But the sheer fact that he tweaked out so hard over the Minnesota tribe and then a clan tribe invaded his space. I mean, I don't really. Epic, that's something new that is something new that YouTube has done. And I'm not really sure what it is. I honestly wish I could opt out of it. I don't know. It is weird, Captain. It is kind of weird. Okay. I just don't even understand. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be doing something extra with it or what. It's a new feature that's in there that is just automatically on the chat window now, Epic. So I'm not really sure what the deal is with that. We'll see if they do anything with it. I'm just really not sure why that had to be there. What's up, Avalon? But yeah, I don't understand, Umbral. I really just don't.
Power.
Thank you,
all
Reverb.
started to come undone. A counterattack by the DCMS and Wolf's Dragoons at the decisive moment, where the last of the clan's reserves were committed, broke the attack, and any hope for a clan victory. For all of its strength, for all of its reputation and power, Clan Smoke Jaguar, shortly after their Novacat allies had already begun to abandon them in the now doomed battle,
Be sure to push the like
collapsed.
button.
Galaxy Commander Worth was killed in the fighting, and the Jaguars took horrendous losses in their stubborn and ill-fated campaign, and now retreat. Even their greatest mechs, such as the Direwolf and Eban Jaguar, could not change this outcome. Defeat, humiliation, and despair were the only rewards they had to claim. The survivors in the Smoke Jaguar Tumen didn't fully realize it, but this was the turning point, not only in the war for the Inner Sphere, but for their very clan's survival. Within 8 years of this defeat, the clan itself would be destroyed, as the Inner Sphere brought war to their doorsteps in the homeworlds, after driving them from the Dragon's realm entirely. The mech which debuted on Luthien in the Inner Sphere, a mech built on Huntress, a world that saw its industrial base destroyed and its inhabitants conquered, seemingly was set to fade into the abyss as a lost trophy of a dead empire.
Well, sad. Sad. Eban Jaguar D.
A variation of the Omnipod loadout, the Eban Jaguar D is the last addition put together by Clan Smoke Jaguar, and was employed in the last years of the clan's existence. It is very much a mid-range striker, with a devastating energy and ballistics package, using its physical attributes to the best of its abilities. Outside of the package itself, this mech has a deadly combination of mobility and fire. To start with, it has a pair of Ultra AC-10 autocannons, with one in each arm. These are great because they don't eat too heavily into its limited sinking ability, while letting the mech deliver reliable and deadly hammer blows at medium ranges. It feeds these autocannons with 4 tons of ammunition, split between its 2 torsos. After this, in order to back these cannons up directly, it has a pair of ER medium lasers in its right torso, as well as an ER large laser for long-range harassment in the left torso. Of all of the Jaguar configurations of the mech, this one perhaps performs the best on the tabletop itself, when factoring in that it has the greatest potential for sustained, consistent fire, while not expending the mech's tonnage on other things like AC-2 autocannons.
Right.
When taking into
I got a feeling he doesn't like the AC-2. I'm just saying, I'm not sure, but I got a feeling he doesn't like the AC-2 autocannon.
account the Cauldronborn's resilience and mobility, all of these weapons combine to make a very, very dangerous battlefield participant. The Eban Jaguar D was a horrible thing to come across for any of the Inner Sphere combatants in Operations Serpent or Bulldog in the dying days of the clan invasion era. The first configuration crafted by another clan, the Eban Jaguar H appeared a handful of years after the annihilation of Clan Smoke Jaguar, and it is an exceptionally dangerous predator to see lurking on the battlefield. With its reasonable mobility and sturdy chassis, its weaponry is a terrifying sight for anyone to behold if they are trapped in a close-range engagement with this monster.
Sweet.
To begin with, it has 3 additional double heat sinks, bringing its cooling total to the much more respectable 32 every turn. After this, to increase its lethality yet furthermore, and given some of its weaponry you'll see why soon enough, it has a 4-ton clan targeting computer installed on board as well, enhancing the pilot's gunnery function and giving it a deadly bite with its knockout weaponry. Because its guns are definitely terrifying. Let's get started with the biggest and the baddest. In the right torso, the H has an Ultra AC-20 autocannon, with 15 rounds of ammunition stored in its left torso. When this gun roars, everyone is forced to listen. The most powerful, concentrated damage weapon in the game, this double-tapping Predator is the doom of any mech that receives its detailed attention. It will rip through armor, shatter internals, blast through heads, and simply core out any mech that engages with it for too long. With the targeting computer assisting it, it is a very scary piece of equipment. Backing this up, however, it has another horrifying system. Another head-capping device is its heavy large laser, found on the right arm, which is a weapon that hits for a terrifying 16 points of damage. This system gives the Eban Jaguar the ability to melt its way through other targets. Heavy lasers have 2 drawbacks: heat and lowered accuracy. The accuracy problem is offset by the targeting computer, and the heat is managed by the additional heat sinks. In its left arm, it also has 2 heavy medium lasers, which hit for 10 damage each, the same force as an Inner Sphere PPC. So this is another impressive battery of destruction. These act as a
I like it. I want one. I want one of these. Because, yes.
Great alternative to the heavy large laser once combat gets into the ideal range for the Ultra AC-20. Finally, for accurate fire, it has a single medium pulse laser, backing all of this up. Overall, the H is one of the most destructive Eban Jaguars out there, purpose-built for in-close engagements. Any opponent would be a fool not to sweat upon seeing it make it to its ideal range.
I need one of these for chicken defense.
Just as the Inner Sphere spiraled into the warfare of the Blackest era, new technologies were made available to clan battle mechs. And the first example of an Eban Jaguar platform embracing HAG and ATM systems is in fact the E configuration. First put together in 3069, this mech is a valiant introduction to these technologies on the mech. First, it has a right arm mounted large pulse laser, giving it greater range, solid damage, and exceptional accuracy. Next, it has an ER medium laser mounted in the left torso as a backup system. Then we get to the real teeth this mech has. First, in the left arm, it has a HAG-20 system installed. This Hyper Assault Gauss rifle will land blistering barrages, hitting like an LRM-20 launcher, but one that can't be intercepted by an anti-missile system. HAGs are generally feared, and the HAG-20 is no different. There are 18 rounds of ammunition for this hellish cannon. The final piece of this devastating puzzle is the E's ATM-12 launcher, with the optimal, versatile total of 3 tons of ammunition, giving it 15 rounds of fire. These missiles can be launched in 3 different stages, depending on the ammunition on board. This is truthfully one of the most dangerous missile systems in the game, with each missile type excelling under different conditions. Woe be to anyone who gets caught in close by an HE volley from this thing.
Epic, it has been suggested I get my wife a BMG, a 50 cal, for defending her chickens. It has been suggested.
Overall, the E is a balanced, explosively powerful battle mech. The most vicious sniping platform yet devised for the Eban Jaguar, at least in terms of being a dedicated armor breaker and head clipper, is the Eban Jaguar F.
Okay.
Built with a symmetrical approach for its onboard weaponry, the F has longevity on the battlefield as well, as the loss of one side torso will not hinder it enough to stop it from being able to fight its enemies. It lives up to the name Cauldronborn as a result. Introduced at the turn of the century in 3104, it must have been a real shock for anyone who came up against it when they first appeared. Let's get its basic system changes out of the way first.
Okay.
Out of necessity, it increases its heatsink total to 20 overall, letting it dump 40 heat per turn, and it definitely needs to do this, and you'll see why shortly.
Okay.
Much like the terrifying H model, this is equally scary when it comes to its onboard targeting computer, making it all the more lethal. So, what makes the F something you need to respect on the battlefield? To start with, it has twin ATM-6 launchers, with one in each side torso. These let it deliver myriad types of fire onto its enemies, especially with, once more, the optimal 3 tons of ammunition on board. But these aren't the main attraction to this monster.
Okay.
The main act is its pair of Clan-Tech ER-PPCs. When combined with its excellent cooling and its targeting computer, these are a horrifying main armament for a fast-moving 65-ton mech.
Huh? That's actually kind of nerve-wracking to consider. That is a reach out and crush someone. Yeah. Pretty much M1.
When adding in its ATMs for crit seeking, or for close-range defense, it is a true monster on the battlefield. In a unit with multiple Eban Jaguars, the F and the H working together would be a horrifying mix of close and long-range fires too. But even on its own, the Eban Jaguar F is an all-range sniper, and one which can handle just about any opponent. The modernization package
T is for turtle.
for the original Prime variant. The Eban Jaguar T is a product of the new age of warfare, with modern sensibilities, technologies, and understanding. It also has allowed the mixed capabilities of its inspiration to become something far more sinister.
Yay.
Nothing of the first design is retained, save for the broad physical characteristics the mech possesses, and its appearance. To retain the power of the mighty Gauss rifle the Prime is known for, while reducing its tonnage burden, the T installs a Clan-Tech ER-PPC into the right arm. This does the same damage, though at 15 times the heat. Still, with the other systems on board, this isn't as much of an issue as one might imagine.
Okay.
Removing its pitiful SRM-2 package, the T then goes on to replace it with a pair of powerful Thunderbolt 5 missiles. Thunderbolts operate like traditional LRMs, though they strike a single location for their full damage.
Nice.
Giving this mech another decent
Hey,
long-range
Alan.
system that can lay into targets, and meaningfully support its PPC. These have 12 rounds of ammunition per launcher. The traditional LRM-10 is then upgraded to a Streak LRM-10, losing its indirect fire function, but in favor of reliability,
Okay.
and it has 12 rounds of fire overall. Another decent addition to supporting the ER-PPC. The final long-range striking system on board is an Ultra AC-5 autocannon in the left arm, with 20 rounds of ammunition, replacing its prior, much less capable LB autocannon.
Okay.
Just as an aside, all of the explosive ammunition on board this mech is hidden beneath Case 2 systems, drastically increasing the survivability of the chassis, especially in how it can potentially protect its XL engine components on board in the event of a cook-off.
This thing is nasty. I like it. I like it so much. Okay, I love the King Crab, but this was the first mech that I saw that I really liked. Like, I just really liked it. I'm just saying.
The left torso is then outfitted with an improved heavy-medium laser for close-range backup.
Of course.
Overall, the T is a
So far, you want to know the one thing I've noticed about all these designs? I have yet to see an emotional support laser. I have yet to see a single emotional support laser.
decidedly long-range killer, meant to be taking up positions at range, using its enhanced speed, and laying into its opponents with a variety of deadly weapons for a brutal onslaught. In fact, if only firing on targets at range, it can run and fire all of its main systems in this bracket, and while it will overheat, it won't do so catastrophically, meaning it can cycle out several systems for its next barrage in order to maintain optimal capabilities. The Eban Jaguar T is a versatile killer, and definitely deserves to be the new prime of the latter eras of Battletech. Its prey will quickly find why this old Jaguar is rightly feared.
Huh. T for Terminator.
I'll augment your compensation further. I will give you this cauldron. And the peculiarity of the cauldron is this. A man who is killed today and thrown in the cauldron, by the next day he will be as good as he was at his best.
Hurrah.
Except he will not be able to talk. Benigayren. Translated from Branwen Furlir.
Cool. The Cauldron of Resurrection.
In the aftermath of the clan invasion and the spear driven through the body of the clan most responsible for it, the remnants and scraps of the once great clan were all that remained. During the 3050s, Smoke Jaguar had, through trade and trials, exported their vicious creation to their fellow clans, with the Eban Jaguar gradually appearing in every other tumen of the Children of Kerensky. But just because these clans had stocks of the mechs and some repair components, did not mean they were producing more of these fearsome platforms. In fact, during the immediate and long-term aftermath of the end of Smoke Jaguar, they were a dwindling resource, both for the clans and for the other new user of the machine. The other operator, by the way, was the Draconis Combine. Such was the scale of the fighting in the Combine space, and such was the scale and scope of their victories there, as well as in the clan homeworlds, that a meaningful enough number of Eban Jaguars had fallen into the claws of the dragon.
Yeah.
So much so that they had a fieldable quantity of these mechs available in their inventories for decades after vanquishing their foe. In other words, to the victor, the spoils. For all those that benefited from having them, the Cauldron-born was a grand prize indeed, as few weapons in its weight bracket could match it. And predictably, these machines found no peace with the destruction of their creators, and were to be seen in conflict after conflict afterwards. The Combine Dominion War, the Blakest assault on the Inner Sphere, and myriad raids and skirmishes tested these mechs on the field of battle as their masters had originally intended. The mech, in these years of service, was never found wanting, but no individual conflict was so great, nor was the use of the Cauldron-born put to such a scale that it was necessary to manufacture more of them. In fact, this terrifying battle mech simply continued down the road of decline into the 32nd century.
See, this is another thing where I just kind of like look at them and I'm like, what in the world are you doing? Oh, y'all, great. Hold on a second. Let me guess who's messaging me. Hi, Sanghili. What do you need, buddy? You can turn on... Oh, okay. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. I'm going to probably try to do that later. You're partial to the whammy...
Despite its strong reputation,
Warhammer 2C, yeah.
It was fading, just as the memory of Clan Smoke Jaguar was fading. But as with the Mad Dog, its much more famous cousin, the Jaguars had crafted a weapon that was simply too good, Its grit and power in warfare, its ability to inflict violence on others, and to destroy was simply too great for it to be ignored, and left to a gradual oblivion. During the Dark Age, after the Blackout, as the Inner Sphere as a whole began to spiral into chaos and destruction, Clan Seafox discovered just what a valuable commodity that they possessed when it came to potential rivals of this creature. Inner Sphere states craved clan technologies to wage their wars, and many clans needed excess production capacity. They all desired reliable, devastating war machines, and the Foxes always sought to fill their demands.
Yeah.
While they'd long ago began the process of distributing older clan tech systems to the Inner Sphere and their fellow clanners, typically in the form of second-line mechs, the Foxes were usually more reluctant to export cutting-edge technologies and platforms. The Eban Jaguar, however, was no longer considered either of those things, despite how effective it was. Thus, Clan Seafox opted to reverse engineer the last child of Huntress, casting its corpse into the cauldron and allowing it to be reborn.
Hooray.
Letting the monster breathe once more, for no other reason than for their own use of it and profit.
Yeah.
At the front of the line for their resurrected product, once manufacturing plant SFF-C01 began churning these machines out, were of course other clans, replenishing the stocks and repair parts for existing units within the Inner Sphere's tumens. Barring 3 notable exceptions, Clan Ghostbear didn't seem to be interested in reacquiring the Eban Jaguar for their forces. For example, their own military simply had domestically made alternatives, and while they hardly didn't forsake business with their Fox counterparts, they didn't go to the table for their scraps unless needed. However, in the case of
Good
Clan
acronym.
Jade Falcon and Clan Wolf, neither of them were allowed to acquire this new mech.
Ha!
In the example of the former, Jade Falcon during the Dark Age, to be blunt, had few friends and many enemies given the radical political shift that took place within the clan. For the Wolves, and later their new empire, it was deemed unprofitable to sell it to them, and seemingly even after the formation of the Ill Clan. Instead, new Cauldronborns were distributed to the Clan Protectorate, and even the Capellan Confederation, an Inner Sphere power. Both of these entities were able to use this mighty war machine for their own gains, and in the case of House Liao, this brutish clan heavy was utilized to skewer the Republic of the Sphere, and now this spear is being turned towards potentially its distributors.
Every time I see a Locust in gameplay here, it's usually just getting absolutely mollywopped. It's just pathetic.
Or at the very least, their puppets.
Ugh.
The realm of arms trading can have many unforeseen consequences, but it's all a part of playing this dangerous financial game. There is a final partnership for distribution, though, outside of the norm, and it appears to once more be the Draconis Combine.
Yay.
Having grown accustomed to having these machines, and having made a partnership with the Sea Foxes after the tragic and unavoidable demise of Clan Novacat, the Draconis Combine can once more call upon these vicious hunters that had, a lifetime ago, raided their very capital.
Yay.
With them potentially being issued in numbers and support parts. The weapon that was used against them in a war long ago is now a mighty component of their own arsenal. The irony, I'm sure, is not lost upon agents of the Dragon. The Eban Jaguar's spread to so many corners of the Inner Sphere is once more an example of the destruction that an even dead empire can bring to the rest of man. While there are a cadre of idiots and fools pretending to be Clan Smoke Jaguar on Terra, in what is one of the most delusional, inauthentic, and preposterous claims in history, the corpse of the actual clan's legacy continues to haunt the Inner Sphere.
We're Clan Smoke Jaguar. We're back, baby. No, you're not. Mitch, you have a nice night, bud.
It has been shown repeatedly that Jaguar equipment has proliferated to those that were left behind, leaving the world everyone resides in a less safe place to dwell. In theory, the original clans viewed the Jaguars as lacking in military and scientific innovation. The Jaguars were thugs, who were only good at taking from others and little else.
It will never stop being embarrassing. You know, I understand that. What's up, Big Red? I understand that. The thing about it is, when I had always assumed that, like, because I knew that the Smoke Jaguar bit the bullet. I've known that for years, all right? I've known that for years. I did not know they were brought back. I did not know they were brought back. And that actually makes me rub my forehead in concern.
But while few in number, every single one...
Oh! Hold on. Hold on. I want you to watch this guy right here. Check him out.
Scientific innovation.
Is it this guy? No, it's this guy. Watch
The
him.
Jaguars were thugs, who were only good at taking from others and little else. But while few in
Like, watch this, guys.
number,
Mario!
every single one of their
Bruh.
clan battlemech designs were war-winning machines, transcending the limitations of the framework of the clans, and excelling as both duelist machines and as reliable and rugged war winners. The Smoke Jaguars must have been inspired well beyond what is attributed to them, because it is from
I
their
hear you, Big Red.
science-industrial complex that so many devastating battle mechs have been delivered, because the horrors crafted inside the fires
is
of Huntress
great.
and other Jaguar industrial dens have long outlived their masters. Beneath the surface of all their rage and all of their hostility lay the minds of ruthless engineers, just as ruthless as their warriors, in fact. Following in the grim path of other designs made by maligned powers, the Eban Jaguar has found proliferation, and it is every bit as devastating and terrifying as its kin. The Mad Dog was death on a horse. The Stone Rhino is a tsunami of destruction, and an echo of brutality and war. And it is the Eban Jaguar that is the perfect monster. A machine built so superbly that even after its death, it was resurrected, as if it were cast into the very cauldron that the Inner Sphere named it for, to rise again to plague the world of humanity, and to help the scourge and tragedy of war as it was revisited upon the great civilizations of human space. The Eban Jaguar is perhaps the face of why humanity will always be its own worst enemy. Homo homini leo est.
There's a reason I have loved this
The
mech.
Smoke Jaguar fights like a true warrior. No deceit, no subterfuge. A single brutal assault, both open and deadly.
I'll tell you this. Oh, MechWarrior 5 Clans. Did he get a sponsor?
One of the primary reasons for assembling this piece, I must admit, is closely linked to something significant that is on the horizon. I'm going to assume that most of you know what I'm talking about, but I'm excited all the same. MechWarrior 5 Clans
Oh, you didn't?
is coming to PC and consoles within the next few weeks. I believe the launch is going to be on October 16th or 17th.
Guys, I have MechWarrior 5. I will be getting clans. At some point, I'm going to do a playthrough. I just don't know when, okay? I just don't know when. So, that's on the horizon.
If I'm not mistaken. What makes this so special is that it is going to be the first narrative-driven MechWarrior game since MechWarrior 4. And this prior title was decades ago now.
Yeah.
What is more important to me, personally, is it
okay.
completes the picture in its own strange way by giving us the story of the Smoke Jaguars in video game form, from their perspective. MechWarrior 2 was about Jade Falcon and Wolf, as well as eventually being about Clan Ghostbear during the expansion pack. Ghostbear's legacy impacted me enough that for the longest time, the bears were always my clan of choice by default.
Mm-hmm.
But just as much, I have loved Smoke Jaguar, and for them to get this outing feels perfect, to me, and it excites me. For my own taste, a game needs a decent story, an overriding mission for me to head towards. And so for this particular game to follow a clan that I would put at the top of the food chain, has me very much left in anticipation for its inevitable launch. I've been hyped for this game since the Stone Rhino came to MWO a while ago. I'm still clinging, in vain, I suspect, to the hope that I can pilot one of those in the game. I hope I can, because it is to me one of the Smoke Jaguar mechs. What I am saying, really, is that I covered the Cauldronborn to celebrate the launch of this game. This is, truthfully, perhaps, the last major Smoke Jaguar video I really make, as I just don't think there is much left for me to explore, at least if I'm covering their weaponry, as most of their major, directly produced battle mechs have now been covered on the channel. If you're wanting to get into the mood for Smoke Jaguar, I selfishly recommend that you check those out. I am just hoping that MechWarrior 5 Clans is something that delivers on the narrative and gameplay front. This is potentially a true return to form for the franchise. A new dawn potentially awaits us all, one without contractions, or the rulership of irresponsible freebirths. Conquest shall be ours. Glory to the clans. Long live the Star League. And glory to Clan Smoke Jaguar.
So Mercs will get... So Shadows of Karinsky? Okay. I'm gonna say this. This mech, for until I found the King Crab, was my favorite.
Thank you all for joining me here today. I hate to do this, but this is the part of the video where I've got to remind you that if you enjoyed the ride up until this point, don't forget to smash the like button. It really does.
Guys, 100% go over to Big Red's channel. The link is in the description down below. Put a like on this, most definitely. Guys, another thing, okay? 1,000%. I don't get a chance to really deep dive into a lore base that is anywhere close to 40K in terms of depth and scale. And it's always a pleasure for me to find out that I haven't, like, when I started to feel like I was beginning to see, like, the bottom, I realized I'm not even halfway there. I'm not even a quarter of the way there. I'm very much enjoying this. I'm very much enjoying this whole franchise because of the length and breadth of the lore.
Does help. Also, if you're wanting more Battletech content, I do my best to release meaningful pieces like this as often as I can. I'd recommend subscribing to keep track of what I'm up to and what projects are coming out. I already said most of my piece in the MechWarrior 5 section of this video, but I really do want to thank everyone who made this possible. To start with, that's going to be Eldonius, who created the magnificent Eban Jaguar art piece that you see in this video. Typically, Eldonius does do prints of artwork that he's made, so keep an eye out for that. I will have a link to his website and his Twitter profile.
That's ballin'
in the top pinned comment of this video. As per usual, the primary resources used to construct this video will also be placed in the same resources comment. There's one major video planned for the remainder of the year, which I do want to get out in the November timeframe. And that is going to be the Nova Cat. Some of the artwork you see right now is in fact Nova Cat artwork done by Alan Blackwell. That will feature in the upcoming Nova Cat video. Just as a quick aside, I am hoping to have the time to cover Letter of the Law by Phil Lee when it comes out.
I am the law.
But we'll see. I'm a big Free Worlds League fan, as most people know, but a novel review may not be in the cards just due to scheduling. But I'm going to try to get something out for it. There is one final thing that I need to do here, which is that I need to thank all of the YouTube channel members for their support.
Of course.
I cannot thank you guys enough, as without you, these videos would not be possible. So when I say this, I really mean it. This content is brought to you, and to the broader audience who enjoys it, because of viewers like you.
The
Once
more
more,
you know.
from the bottom of my shriveled, half-dead Smoke Jaguar sympathizing heart. Thank you. Also, since this video has custom artwork in it as well, I also need to give a special shout out to the Captain Generals who support this channel as well. So an enormous thank you goes to Beskar66.
Okay, so the Eban Jaguar. When I first came into Mech Warrior, when I first started to really, I think the Eban Jaguar was actually the first mech besides the Mad Cat that I knew the name of. It was the first one that I actually knew the name of because I took one look at it and I was just like, oh my god, what is that damn thing? It just looked like it could beat the living hell out of anything else it came across. Now, of course, you know, you have the Atlas, everything like that. Timberwolf, I know the whole lore surrounding why the Inner Sphere called it a Mad Cat as well, because it looks like a Marauder and a Catapult. But it was the first one that I actually knew the name of, the actual name of. That was actually its honest to goodness name. And I just love the mech. I love the look of it. For me, mechs like the Marauder, the Eban Jaguar, those with that sort of appearance, I'm guessing it's because I spent so much time in 40K that it feels like home when I sit there and I compare it to the Warhound Titans of the 40K universe. It has a very similar body type to the Warhound in and of itself. Similar, not exact. But if you're going to sit there and find something that you like, you find something similar to something that you already like. And it was not that big of a stretch for me, to be honest. It was not that big of a stretch for me at all. So when I played Mech Warrior Online, I immediately jumped into clan mechs in Mech Warrior Online the second I actually figured it out. And my whole goal was to pilot that mech. That was what I wanted to do. I just wanted it. It just looks like one massive, aggressive, angry thing, okay? It really does. And to be just completely honest, it is just so damn... It looks like a sports car with a fucking naval cannon on it. I can't, for any length of time, I didn't know what it was armed with, but the sheer fact that, look, I am a fan of the Alpha Strike. I cannot say anything more about it. And the Alpha variant of this, okay. Mitch, the Timberwolf. So here's a list of the mechs that I would like to know about. I'd like to know about the Direwolf, the Timberwolf, a little bit more about the Timberwolf. I'd like to know about a little bit more about the Awesome, because I did see Tex's video on the Awesome, but it was before he really kind of hit his stride. It was really before he kind of hit his stride and started doing those really in-depth videos that I enjoyed so much. I want to see something on Elementals. I want to do something on Elementals. You know how much fun I'd have doing a lore video on Elementals? I've got to get back. Oh, God. Anyhow. Warpugs, this whole franchise has been an absolute ride to get behind in every single way. Just because when you think that you're near the end, you've only hit a third of the way there. when you think that you're getting close to bottom, there's all these characters and all these interesting asides that you just did not know about. Battletech Tuesday is going to be going on for some time. We are going to be playing games. We are going to be like, I don't know if next week I'm going to be doing what I'm going to be doing. As far as Battletech Tuesday, might be the Bushwhacker. I don't know. I have no idea. But one thing I do know is I hope that you guys join me for it. And I hope that one day soon I'll be able to get that green screen back together and get everything ready to go and actually start writing again. That is my goal before the end of the year, is to start doing lore again. I don't know. I just don't know what I'm going to start with. I've considered a few things, but I'm not really sure where I'm going to go with it. I'm just monstrously busy. That's all I can say. Go take the Bean for his walk. I did a video with the Bean earlier. And I'm going to talk to Val because the Bean needs his own shirt. I'm just saying. The Bean needs his own shirt. Guys, okay, so the Direwolf I actually had in my clan lineup. I will say that on Mech Warrior Online. So that is all. The only thing I know about the Direwolf is it looks like it could take a hit from a tactical nuke. Just saying. I'm just saying, it looks like I could take a direct hit from a tactical nuke and still keep on going. I'm just saying. Caveman Delta has quite the collection of Battletech songs. Nice. Oh God, Warpugs. What am I gonna do? I'm enjoying this franchise way too damned much. It's tabletop, it's video games, it's all this kind of stuff. Warpugs, make sure you hit the like button. I'm going to step out from here, and I should insert playthrough between the lore. You know what, Yelwin? There's a lot of me and a couple other people are talking about what I'm going to be doing. Just trying to figure out how I'm going to get things done. Dress in Mech Warrior gear, the Bean pilots the Marauder. Okay, we'll see if we can't make that work. The phrase that fits the Direwolf, the wall of guns. Dude, I'm always a fan of a wall of guns. That's just how that works. If you have a wall of guns, it's a fan, okay? I'm a fan of it. If you look at another mech, if you're inside of a mech and you look at another mech and go yeetus deletus, alpha strike, and you shut down from heat overload, I'm automatically a fan of that mech too. Why? Because nothing says screw you than I will risk my own self-destruction to eliminate you from the planet. Yeah. I got a feeling some of my loadouts in Mech Warrior Online are just utter hot garbage. I'm just saying. Warpugs, I'm going to take off from here. Head on over to Big Red's channel. Big Red does a lot of live streams, normally around this time of night. Go over there, say hey, hit the like button over there for him. Tell him the old man sent you. Until next time, Warpugs, I'm going to take off out of here, and I'll catch you guys next time. I don't know what we're doing next week. We will find out.